did not know was that he owns all of Martin Luther King Jr.'s speeches.
Nope, that's not exactly how it goes. And I'm not getting on here to try to beef with another content creator, specifically a black woman who is a content creator. I'm here to bring clarity to what's being reported. Steven Spielberg does not own Dr. King's speeches. No. Steven Spielberg owns licensing to Dr. King's speeches. He owns life rights to licensing of Dr. King's speeches. He does not own Dr. King's speeches. Who owns Dr. King's speeches? The King estate owns Dr. King's speeches. Who makes up the King's estate? That would be Dr. Bernice King and Martin Luther King III. They are Dr. King's children. What's happening is, in order to use Dr. King's speeches in any film industry or any kind of way, you have to get approval from the King's estate. You have to obtain a license, and that costs money. Now, Dr. King's children, Bernice and Martin, they sometimes license parts of his speeches, but to license the entire speech, it's gonna cost you money. Dr. King's speeches are copyrighted material. You cannot freely use his material in anything that you do. I believe they are very lenient when it comes to schools wanting to use his speeches for education and things like that. But when it comes to entertainment and Hollywood, Dr. King's children, they are very selective in who they allow to use Dr. King's speeches. They don't just give a license to everybody. Hell, they turned down the Smithsonian. They do not just let anybody use Dr. King's voice, his speeches, his work. They don't just willy-nilly allow anybody to use his stuff. And it's by the request of Dr. King himself. They are following his orders. I believe Steven Spielberg is the only one that has full rights to tell his life story. Full rights doesn't mean he owns Dr. King's speeches, his work. It means he has a license to tell Dr. King's story. Now, when that story is going to be told, I don't know. But I've had to talk about this before. Somebody must be getting ready to do a movie of some sort. Every time somebody is getting ready to do a movie in regards to Dr. King, and they need to get rights or a license to use his actual work, yeah, this story comes up because I've talked about this before. Steven Spielberg does not own Dr. King's work or his speeches. He owns licensing, which gives him the right to use Dr. King's speeches, his works, in his movie. And I guarantee you, Steven Spielberg paid a pretty penny for that license. This is why I think somebody must be doing a movie or some sort for this to be coming up again, because this is very recent. I'm not sure where what article that is that she clipped, but this article right here will break it down to the rooter to the tutor so you can understand. Steven Spielberg does not own Dr. King's works, his speeches. No. Dr. Bernice King and Martin Luther King III owns their daddy's works and speeches. Steven Spielberg owns licensing, which gives him rights to use those works, those speeches, his essays, whatever, in any movie that he brings about. I just want to clarify that. I'll see y'all later.